Welcome to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever seen a horse who could talk? With your host, Louisa Barton, who really wants to be a famous rider. She really loves to ride fast. Presented by Peterson & Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care.
Truth is, I have horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton. Enjoy the show.
Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Mr. Richard Larson, a man of great integrity, cares about every single bale of hay and about taking care of his customers. He also has a huge heart for those genuinely in need. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Thank you for joining us on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And I've had a great week. And we've
That's
got
what
a
I
great
heard.
lineup. Yes. On the Horse Talk Show tonight, we have some wonderful guests for you. In the first half, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, we have what to do when you arrive with an emergency with Dr. Faith Hughes from Peterson Smith, and I saw her twice over the weekend. Oh, embarrassing segment. Louisa's first English riding lesson in years with Megan from MV Equestrian. You want to see a bouncing sack of potatoes? Tonight's your night. Horses in Harmony with Dr. Sue Dyson is on our second half, and this lady is so interesting and fascinating. Light Therapy and TENS unit from Muriel from MD Equestrian Equine Therapy, and we've got a little recap from Reach Video Production of Viva Las Vegas, and pretty soon we're going to have a commercial for Reach Video Production as well.
Wow.
So we're working on that, rather exciting. Don't forget that we are on 97.3 The Sky on Saturday morning. And by the way, quick shout out to those 97.3 listeners on Saturday morning. Listen, you guys are amazing and we love you. Just because we make this for television and podcast as well, we got to do a big shout out to our radio people, because we get stopped every single day to be told, thank you so much for being on the show. And actually at the Stirrups and Strides Gala this weekend, Regions Bank, who were sitting very close to us up front, said they'd never missed a show, even when we were on the radio station that we used to be on. So that goes back years. So just a shout out to all of you.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening to us on the radio.
And thanks for watching if you're watching.
Face for radio, you know.
Face for radio. Yeah, you do have that.
Face for radio. Anyway, just a shout out to all of those folks, because we do love our listeners and we do really appreciate you. And 97.3 The Sky is absolutely the best talk radio station, in my opinion, in the United States of America. And
No bias, though.
There's no bias. And we just thank you for tuning in. So awesome. Yeah, so there's a story here. So if you're on the radio and you can't see this, you might want to go to
You're
Facebook
digging in
or
the
Echoes.
trash.
Yes, I'm digging in the trash. So I'm digging in the trash at the AAEP. AAEP stands for the American Association of Equine Practitioners, or equine practitioners, as we say in England, if you'd like the British version.
The vet conference.
Yes, and it's a fantastic conference. It's been going on for, I don't even know how many years, decades. And the trade show is so fantastic. I met some amazing people. But I'm just going to say that the trash can episode, there is a story here. So the to-go boxes were actually quite heavy for food. And after I was done eating, there was quite a lot of food left, because it was a large portion. So I put the lid on the to-go box. I put my phone on top of it, and then I had some paper towels in my hands I put on top of the phone and set it on the booth table. We all chatted for 30 minutes or so, and I realized I'm not going back to eat more, and I don't have a fridge, so I'm not going to take it anywhere. I'm going to toss it in the rubbish.
With your phone.
The rubbish is nearby, and I toss it in the rubbish. And then I'm walking around everywhere trying to find it. Can't find it. Where's my phone? Oh my gosh. I had no pocket, so I couldn't put it in a pocket, so it wasn't in a pocket. So I looked everywhere. I went over into the restaurant looking. Met a guy from Texas who said, did you know they have Haagen-Dazs ice cream? I said, no, I've lost my phone. It's the only thing I care about right now. And he said, let me call you and I'll help you find it. So he did. And then he helped me find my phone, but we didn't find it. So then Alan from Equine Therapy International, Alan Davies, does find my iPhone on his phone, and I log in, and all of a sudden the rubbish bin starts blowing up.
Did it start making noises?
Yes. And Alan goes, look in there. He starts rubbish bin diving. And I said to him, well, look at it there's an upside. If the janitors had come by and taken it to the dumpster, we would right now be dumpster diving.
That's
At
right.
least we're only... Anyway, it was all mixed in with the rice and everything. I've never seen Alan run to the bathroom to wash his hands as fast in my life. So anyway, that's my terrible lost phone story. But this is a tag from AAEP, and this is from Equine Therapy International. And I just want to thank them so much, because not only was it a great time, but it was such an incredible networking experience. And they truly make the best horse treadmill in the world. And it's an absolutely amazing product. I've actually seen one of these in action in South Carolina, where I've seen a horse in this, and this is so well made. It's incredible quality treadmill, and they are amazing people. And I actually got to see their new nebulizer this weekend as well. And they had me at their booth and had a pass for me and took care of me and took me out for dinner. And I just had an amazing experience. It's something that everybody should go to AAEP if they're interested in the equine world, because there's the beneficial veterinary education side of it, which is fantastic. There's seminars and sessions for all the vets.
I don't think you're allowed to go to it unless you're a vet or a vendor.
No, you're allowed to go to it if you're a vet for the sessions. But if you're a vendor or you're interested in the trade show, you can buy tickets to the trade show. You don't have to be a vet to go to that. So the trade show part of it is incredible. I mean, we had CEP partners there. Actually, Magic was there, visiting Ian from BEMA. Barn Walker, who actually have a location at World Equestrian Centre and who put everything in the stalls there at WEC. They're a huge local and national business as well. So I got to meet them and talk to them a little bit about what they do. All kinds of incredible diagnostic imaging, everything you can think of as far as inventions. This gentleman's last name was Davies, the same as Alan, and they're both Welsh and they're both from Wrexham. So we decided they might be a family member. So there's a photograph of them there if you're watching. And just a great, incredible experience. This GPS system for horses, amazing, where you can actually measure what's going on while you're riding them. Lightweight, 700 grams, I think it weighs total. So I was guessing a couple of pounds. But the kind of imaging that you can get with some of the diagnostics and things that they actually have in everything that's new out there, that's me fixing. So I was going to interview Giles and his hair was sticking up. That's the nebulizer. So they have a nebulizer as well, Equine Therapy International does. And really incredible salt, all salt. Great for allergies, great for a stall where a horse has had heaves or any kind of issues like that. Wonderful for clearing the airway, any kind of allergies, heaves, all that sort of thing. So great nebulizer. You don't have to be a veterinarian to own one of those, and you don't have to be a veterinarian obviously to own a treadmill either. So great for conditioning horses, absolutely phenomenal for horses that need a non-impact exercise so they can keep working even if you're away. Your horses can keep working. If you don't want somebody else riding them but you want them to stay fit, it's a great way to be. But this entire bag from Asto CT, who I actually met my first year working at CEP, and they were there.
Wow.
And their imaging machine, and I got to visit with them and interview them. Wonderful folks. So hats off to Equine Therapy International for a great time. We're coming right back with Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Stay with us. This portion of the Horse Talk Show is brought to you by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Our television broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and supporting sponsors, DAC Minerals and Vitamins, Seminole Feed Stores, Lip Chip, Piranha, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, and Ocala Dog Ranch. This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
Equestrian. It's not just a word but a title. It comes paired with hard work, discipline, and talent. Lipchip is a company built by equestrians to make life at the barn a little easier. Introducing the Hooflink system, powered by Lipchip, where a microchip becomes a secure key to unlock temperature, register for your next event, and keep track of required documents. Simply implant, scan, and unlock. Equestrians, the future is here, and the future is Lipchip.
Nirvana, Ocala's premier medical spa, is leading the way in great skin with all the newest in treatment options, offering prejuvenation for younger clients and rejuvenation for all ages. Nirvana knows you want to look your very best, but we've all seen people with the telltale signs of too much work. We want you to look like you, just better, brighter and younger, with all the newest and best in technology and all in the most beautiful surroundings. Like Nirvana Medical Spa on Facebook and find them on the web at nirvanamedicalspa.com. Become a better, brighter and younger you. The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing, offering great communication, quality fencing, and all done in a timely manner. Reliable service with horse safety in mind all the time. Also offering customized residential, vinyl, wood, aluminium, and chain link fences services. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe. For more information, find Equifence of Florida on Facebook now. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the second segment of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
You're listening to the Horse Talk Show, and we actually ran into Dr. Faith Hughes a couple of times over the last few days at AAEP, checking out all the interesting devices and new tech. And I think it must be very interesting for a veterinarian to see all that, especially a veterinarian who's been around for a couple of years, because the changes have to be...
For a couple of years.
A couple of years, yeah. She's been a veterinarian for a little bit, but it must be very interesting to see how your career path and what you actually are able to diagnose with a horse from all the new tech and science that's out there. But she is actually talking in this segment about what to do when you arrive in an emergency, which is, of course, not get into a terrible panic, which is very, very hard not to do when you're worried about your horse. But we're going to walk you through that now with Dr. Hughes. Here she is.
Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show, and I'm at Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care visiting with Dr. Faith Hughes. And we are going to talk a little bit about the procedure when you arrive here with a horse, especially in the case of an emergency when you're kind of in a hurry. Thank you so much for being with us.
Of course.
And taking this time. Yes.
Of course. So an emergency is never something that anyone plans on, and we often see people at their worst. We see them after they've been up all night or up all day worrying about their horse. So we try to make it as simple as possible when you come to our hospital with an emergency. So we have the horses come in. We have a team here that will be waiting for you. We are staffed 24/7, so there's always people here to take care of all the horses that are already in the hospital, and then there's a few extra people that come in for each emergency. So you'll come through the gate and we will be there to unload your horse and take the horse to the designated stall or treatment area that we're going to be working with, and we'll have you fill out some paperwork if it's after hours. If it is before hours, then a lot of times the girls at the front desk, they've already taken care of all that, and they know they have all of your name, address, and all of your horse's information. We'll ask you some questions about, maybe more specific questions about your horse's history. If the horse has been seen by a veterinarian, which some horses have and some horses have not, then we will have spoken to your veterinarian that has seen the horse. And if not, then we'll just talk to you about the horse's normal routine and what's been different and what's happened that has brought them to us at that time.
So if it's after hours, it's still good to call so they know you're coming, so they can be prepared rather than a surprise.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. There's a few extra people that are going to come in. And so we do like to know. We always ask what you think your estimated time of arrival is. And then we always ask if you are coming from a distance to give us a call when you're about 30 minutes out, just so we're looking for you.
So you're kind of prepared, and just to
Yes.
probably give a little brief synopsis of what's sort of going on, so you at least have some idea. And then obviously if you know the horse well and you've had the horse for a long time, any real noticeable differences that you're seeing are really important to note. And sometimes, I find, especially in an animal emergency, which for me is probably one of the most very stressful times, is as things happen, it can be very helpful, especially for me, even on your phone or, a little piece of paper, write down things. Because sometimes when you're really overwhelmed and worried about an animal that you love, you actually find yourself not remembering some of the things that are going on, because you kind of get overwhelmed. So really making notes of those changes, and they might even be little things, but they could be significant to the vet.
Yes, yes. I think we all get overwhelmed when things happen to animals and people that are close to us. And also a lot of times we're sleep deprived. So at that time, maybe we're not thinking clearly. So yes, any information that we have on what led up to the horse coming to us, as far as, we get really excited about poop here.
Yes.
So, has your horse passed a normal amount of manure? Have you noticed a difference in eating and drinking? Have they had a difference in their friends or their level of confinement? All those things are little details that have to do with the horse's day-to-day life, but in the situation of a colic, which is a common type of emergency that we see, some of those things make a big difference.
Yes. And one of the things that, I think Dr. Chaos mentioned to me a couple of times is, there is an equine veterinarian shortage, unfortunately, at the moment across the United States. And so what we're actually finding is a lot of times vets are overworked and overtaxed. They're trying really hard to get to you. And there are occasions when it is going to be better for you to get the horse in the trailer and come to the clinic, rather than wait for somebody who may already be dealing with another emergency. So in those times, it can be better just to pick up the phone and call and say, which one is better right now? Is it better for me to come right to you, or is it better for me to wait for an emergency veterinarian? That can depend on whether it's a weekend, an evening, a day. There's many factors and also how many other emergencies are going on. But sometimes, and there are times when we are waiting for a poop, and putting a horse in the trailer sometimes can make that poop happen. Yes. So that can actually be a very positive move. But oftentimes it can be better, especially if you think that this is a larger emergency or a more serious emergency. Getting here to the clinic where you might have to come anyway can be a good step in the right direction.
Yes, and I always encourage owners to learn how to do some very basic things that can be very helpful to the veterinarians that are either deciding if they should come out to the farm or if the horse should just ship into a hospital. And those are things like taking their temperature. That gives us a lot of information. Things like getting an idea of what their pulse is. And you can lay your hand right behind the left elbow and you can usually feel that heart beating. And just getting an idea. And that gives either your veterinarian that you are calling, if they are busy with emergencies and they say, I think it's going to be hours before I can get to you. If you give them some information, my horse has a high temp and a high heart rate, then they may be able to advise the owners better about, okay, maybe you should just go to the hospital because this sounds like it's really serious. Right. If the horse has injured a leg, is it lame? Sometimes they have what look to be really ugly cuts and scrapes and damage to their leg, and yet they're walking fine, and that's good to know. So the level of emergence is important in an owner deciding whether they want to come straight to the hospital or a veterinarian. We don't have as many veterinarians as we would like. And we have a lot of horses out there.
We do.
And we also treat a variety of other little things, sometimes goats, sheep, and cows. And there are definitely not a lot of veterinarians to treat. We have some very good ones, but they can't be everywhere all the time.
Right.
So
this is true. That we go back to
so
being
it's-
kind to your veterinarian too, which we often talk about. And one
Yes.
other thing I just want to say is, you know, if this isn't a border horse or a friend's horse, if this is your horse and you know the horse, is your horse normally very stoic or not? Because that can really make a difference too. You might have a very stoic horse not showing a lot of symptoms, but maybe there is something going on. So knowing your horse's behavior and normal personality can really help with answers as well.
Yes, and I always ask a lot of questions about that. Is, do you consider this horse a stoic horse or a princess in the pea?
Mm-hmm.
Do they get a gas bubble and they think they're dying,
Yes.
or would you be able to maybe cut their leg off and they'd say,
I didn't feel it.
I
Yes.
don't really feel too bad, but
Yes,
you know.
and there are a lot of
So,
animals that they vary
yes,
on that spectrum.
yes.
So that is a good piece
Yes.
of information.
So yes, just knowing what's normal, and it's some really subtle things like how dull are their eyes? Are their ears just kind of flopped over? Are they hanging their head not any higher than their withers and their shoulders? And there's actually a pain scale that can be used to determine how a horse feels, but a lot of it is just common sense. And if you know your animal, you're going to say there's something not right. And maybe that's just enough that before you call the vet, you stick a thermometer in and you see what their temperature is.
Good to know,
just,
right?
Just easy stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you, Dr. Faith Hughes with Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, talking about what to do in case of an emergency for your horse. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show. This portion of the Horse Talk Show is brought to you by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Our television broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and supporting sponsors DAC Minerals and Vitamins, Seminole Feed Stores, Lip Chip, Piranha, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, and Ocala Dog Ranch.
Faulty wiring is the leading cause of barn fires. I'm Pat with Pat Myers Electric. Equine facilities have special electrical needs. The knowledgeable and licensed team of electricians at Pat Myers Electric will ensure that you can achieve your vision for a beautiful, safe, and functional horse facility. From new construction to rewiring and updating, the Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe. With a small farm of our own, we truly understand the unique concerns of the horse owner. Don't take chances. For all your current barn needs, go to patmyerselectric.com.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at seminolefeed.com.
Horses. Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care seeks to be a leading international veterinary practice that provides state-of-the-art veterinary care to their patients while fostering professional relationships with their clients that stand the test of time. For 24/7 and the best in equine care, check out Peterson and Smith at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now for more information. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hey, this is Buck Brannaman. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancer Pete Rhoda.
And this is sort of embarrassing. I'm actually airing this first riding lesson in I'm not going to tell you how many years. Do not look at my equitation. Just feel better about yourself as you watch. Megan's very patient. Enjoy.
Fun stuff here. Louisa has not been on
an English saddle in.
First off, couldn't even tell how you got on. That was beautiful. So, nice little squeeze, little walk.
Yeah, very, he's like, wow, this is heavier than usual.
Good boy.
Weird feeling.
Yeah.
Weird feeling.
And since you're shorter, just think about pushing your weight down in your heels. You're wrapping with your lower leg instead of your knee.
Okay.
And that's just kind of what we all naturally do anyway.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't expect you to go be able to jump 1.30 m right now.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm very happy to hear that.
Oh, thank God.
Because it could be a really big problem.
Good.
Could be.
Yes. And the bit that he is in right now is just a little egg butt snaffle. So it's really, really, really basic.
Really? Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm all for a simple bit.
And the worst thing he really kind of does is when I'm riding him is he'll kind of just pull against it a little bit and I just close my fingers and don't give, and then he relaxes and is like, okay.
You know, he's been a bit player for a long time.
Yeah, and he does settle. When I start working him, he kind of stops after a little bit and really settles when I've got him really bending and working and he's not just like la la la.
Yeah, then it's keeping him busy. It's like a teenager distraction, right?
Yep. Yep.
Wow, this is not like sitting in a Western saddle.
No, it is not. And honestly, the seat itself, if it was just like an inch bigger, it would be like perfect for you.
Really?
The panels would need to be different, but the seat itself actually is not bad.
Knee juts, doesn't it, a bit more than it should, right? Yeah, it's definitely a whole different feel.
Yes.
Like, you know, I'm used to kind of being sloppy.
Yeah.
As you can tell by looking at my position.
Actually, no, it's beautiful.
I'm used to being very sloppy in the saddle, extremely sloppy. Like just legs out all over the place, you know, feet probably not even in the stirrups, slumped over like a sack of potatoes, and just riding down the trail like, who cares what my form is
that's
like?
man, you're on the trail, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? I'm on the beach, I'm on the trail. I don't really care.
Whenever you're ready. He's a little dead, so you're going to have to use a lot of leg.
Okay.
But go ahead and ask him to trot.
Oh, you want me to trot?
Yeah, girl.
Oh my goodness, okay. This is a little bit scary. Ooh.
Yeah.
Asking me to trot.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Look at how soft he's being.
Oh. Yeah, and look how all over the place I am.
You look incredible. Shush. Good.
I'm all over the place.
Beautiful.
Oh.
For not being in an English saddle and not riding in a hot minute, girl.
I'd say like, I don't know, probably 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl.
At least 15 years.
And he's actually tracking really well. Like he's not being super duper lazy in his back end.
No, it doesn't feel like usual.
He's actually carrying himself way better than I was expecting because he likes to be lazy. I'm sure you know.
Way less work than he was before you were working it, by the way.
Good.
Because I don't feel like I'm having to do as much.
Good. I literally don't have any pointers. You're doing like your heels are down, your toes are forward, you're nice and straight. Like
I had this riding instructor, Debbie, as a child at Wilmcote in England. Oh, yeah. Gosh, she used to scream at us. I thought she was going to slap us if our heels were up.
Yes.
Heels down, toes up, heels down, toes up.
Yes.
Oh, she used to scream at us.
And actually, we started on his weaker side. His right side.
Really?
Yeah. He kind of like when I ride him, he bulges a little bit to the right. He kind of fights with me a little bit more, carrying himself to the right. And like when I ask him for his right lead, it takes a second.
He always actually has had the one side that was bad, and I noticed that when I was working around the round pen with him.
Yeah.
He had one side he just didn't want to go, even on the lunge line.
Yeah.
I couldn't get him to go one way. I was like, what is up with you? You go so easily the other way. I didn't remember which way it was, but I knew there was one side.
Yeah, it could be so like his pony, the fact that he ponied racehorses for a hot minute and he needed that left lead like consistently.
Yeah.
Because like even out in the paddock, he is constantly on his left lead.
Yeah.
So the first couple weeks, I did a lot of work in the round pen with him, and now 99% of the time, he'll pick up the right lead in the round pen. But when I'm riding him, he because he's mostly just fighting me and not really wanting to hold himself, I have to put him in like a nice little circle in the corner, and then I ask, and then he'll pick it up. Good. Now, if you want, trot a couple of laps this way.
Okay.
Good.
Don't think about King.
Yeah.
Don't think about King.
He does that to me when I'm riding too, and I'm like, hey, bud, pay attention, please.
Come on. Let's go.
Good boy.
This must be my worst rein. I feel bouncier here.
Are you righty or lefty?
Righty.
Yep. The left is my worst side.
Is it?
Yeah, I've had so many surgeries on my left knee that I have really bad nerve damage. So I don't feel my leg when I ride.
Haven't ridden in an English saddle since I worked on Valentine, probably like 15 years ago, and did a little conversion from a racehorse to an English horse, and took him over some cross rails and actually sold him as a jumper. Didn't want to sell him, had to at the time. I don't think I've even sat in an English saddle since then at all. This Mustang has been with Megan from MV Equestrian here now for a couple of months, and she's been riding him here at Royal Blessing every week, and he had never had an English saddle on him before and had never been ridden English, so he's adapted really well. Megan has done an absolutely phenomenal job. I would highly recommend her for any sort of training for any horse, whether it's just foundation, like on the ground, you know, behavior in the grooming area, even, you know, being caught, being worked on the ground in the round pen, just doing like foundational stuff, or next level, starting horses, getting them going, teaching them a new discipline, you know, whatever kind of sport they want to do, she can give them a go. Flynn's been over some small jumps, and he's doing really well there too. So this is my first ride on him in an English saddle, and Megan, I'm just blown away singing to have somebody like you who obviously loves Flynn very much, and he obviously loves you, which that means a lot as an owner. When you have a trainer that's working with your horse, if your horse hates the trainer, here's your sign that, you know, there's a relationship problem, and that is either a personality clash between the two, or it's that your trainer is really not doing the job well, because your horse should not hate the trainer. You know, having that kind of trainer, to me, and that kind of person working with your horse that your horse loves and clearly wants to be ridden by is absolutely priceless, and is missing I've seen in many relationships with horses and trainers. You know, that you want to see that, obviously, respect and boundaries, but also you want to see that your trainer really loves your horse, because if not, you don't want that trainer on your horse or working with your horse. My horse has not changed at all in personality since he started being ridden with Megan. He hasn't shown me any signs of any difference in him, and that's something to really note as well, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
Like if your horse starts working with a certain trainer and your horse's personality changes, that's something to think, hey, now what is going on here? You know, and it might not be the trainer, but you do need to look at that.
Absolutely.
You know, watch some of the lessons, watch some of the interactions, because you may have a trainer that's not doing well with your horse. You know, I want to point out, as far as MV Equestrian goes, I can't give them a higher 5 stars, 10 stars out of 5 for exceptional training, the way that Megan treats the horses. So thank you for my first English riding lesson in actually it's my first English riding lesson in 30 years.
You blew me away.
But it's my first time in an English saddle in at least 15. So yeah, and you didn't scream at me like my English riding teacher either.
Nope, I don't do that. Nope, no screaming from me.
That's amazing.
No.
All right, Mr. Flynn, let's see if I can still get off an English saddle, shall we? Oh, not too bad.
Good boy. Good boy.
Yes, my baby. You did so good. Thank you.
He is the
Mama
bestest
loves
boy.
you.
Bestest boy ever.
Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, where the entire team is committed to making your experience in sales and service hassle-free and easier than ever with no games or gimmicks. Come in and visit on Southwest College Road or online at palmchevrolet.com. A second-to-none experience with all the amenities. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
LipChip is a company built by equestrians to make life at the barn a little easier. Equestrians, the future is here, and the future is LipChip.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. DAC, it makes a world of difference. The Equine Performance and Innovative Center, situated on 30 pristine acres in the horse capital of the world, is one of the finest and most complete conditioning and rehab centers for equines and canines in the nation, including an equine hyperbaric chamber, aqua pacer, water treadmill, cold water leg spa, equine swimming pool, Eurosizer, and more. Epic equine veterinarians specializing in rehab and conditioning. For more information, go to epcrehab.com or find them on social media.
Cut through the noise and distinguish your business with a custom vehicle wrap from Smash Wraps. Get noticed with eye-catching vehicle wraps that showcase your brand's identity and earn you more business. If you're looking for a custom-designed vinyl wrap for horse trailers, box trucks, cars, or pickup trucks, for a single fleet vehicle, or for 100, no job is too big for the Smash Wraps team. Make your appointment to set your business apart today. Find us on social media or at smashwraps.com. And remember, don't just wrap it, smash wrap it.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, dedicated to bringing their customers the largest selection of quality horse supplements, products, and farrier supplies in Florida at affordable prices. Also online at ttdistributors.com.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever heard of a horse that can talk? Listen to this. With your host, Louisa Barton. She's literally in love with every horse. Presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. She's back in the saddle again. And now here's your host,
Pretty.
Louisa Barton. She's a Brit, she's got the gift of the gab, and her guests are fab.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. We're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the second half of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And we are going to hear from Sue Dyson, very, very interesting lady from England. And this is actually her book, Harmonious Horsemanship. Very interesting opportunity to chat to her when she was here to do a seminar for our veterinarians in the local area. So here is Sue. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show and the Equus Television Network. And I'm here visiting with a new friend, Sue Dyson. I want to thank John very much at the Equus TV Network for the introduction and for the chance to chat to a fellow Brit. Sue, it's lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you. Wonderful things.
It's a pleasure.
Let's start off with, at least in this segment, a little background on you, because I know you have a long horse history yourself.
Well, I grew up as the usual pony mad child who wanted to ride and wanted to ride well. I didn't come from a horse background, but I did have the opportunity to kind of work at the local riding school. I had my own pony from the age of 7, and then had to look after my ponies. So I was the responsible person, and I would produce them and sell them, and then I could buy a little bit of a better pony and pay for my lessons, and that was how I progressed, wanting to do better. I didn't mind if I was second, I just wanted the ponies to progress.
That's fantastic, and isn't that the best way, don't you think, you know, not to say anything critical about people who could just get given ponies, because I certainly was given ponies in my life, but isn't that wonderful when you kind of understand the expenses and the work that actually goes into having your own pony or horse?
Yes, I think it instilled a huge sense of responsibility and a value of what things were. And I couldn't have done it without my mother as well, because she would pay for transport to shows and things like that. But it really instilled in me the need also to observe and to watch that the way the animals moved and how they responded to being ridden and whether they seemed happy or not, because they weren't always happy because they ran into problems. Then I was very lucky that one of my first horses turned out to be a superstar. So I bought him as a horse that was misunderstood, I think. He'd been in a stable for weeks because nobody wanted to ride him. He was just 5, but he was a stunning jumper. And he became quite rapidly a grade A show jumper, that's the top level in UK, and also an advanced event horse. So he was phenomenal. I was offered lots of money for him several times over, and eventually I accepted. And he went to a young rider who won the Junior European Championships with him. And then, then her younger sister did the same. And in the interim, I was qualifying as a veterinary surgeon, an equine veterinary surgeon. And whilst I was at university, I was approached by Sheila Wilcox, who was the first woman to ride in the European 3-day event championships. And she offered me a job. And I thought, oh, I don't know, I'm in the middle of my vet course. But I went, as a kind of compromise, I went and worked for her in my long vacations. And whilst I was there riding for her, who should come along but Jacques Le Goff, the American chef de keep at the time, and Bruce Davidson on a buying trip.
Wow.
So I rode some young thoroughbreds in front of them, which they subsequently bought. Then, as a veterinarian, after I qualified, I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to the University of Pennsylvania for a year to work as an intern at New Bolton Centre. And within the first few days of being in the clinic, Bruce Davidson brought in Mike Tango, who was his world championship horse.
Oh my gosh.
And he recognised me and said, do you want to come and ride horses for me whilst I was there? And I thought I wasn't going to be riding for a year. And I thought, well, this is just an amazing opportunity. So I said, yes. So I got the opportunity to ride some of his very good horses. I would go there at the weekends. During the summer, I would try and go there after work if I wasn't on call. So that was a fabulous experience. And then after 2 years working in Pennsylvania, I went back to the UK and I bought another horse, which was another difficult, challenging horse. He would rear in the middle of a field and you couldn't go anywhere. But when I learnt how to manage him, he became, by the age of 7, an advanced event horse. And I sold him at the beginning of his 8-year-old year, and he went to the Olympics later in that year and jumped a clear round. And he therefore subsequently did 2 Olympics and a World Championships and the European Championships.
My goodness.
And then I had a third superstar.
Listen, most people don't get one, a third.
Who I bought cheaply because he was a windsucker. But I just liked the horse. And he also turned out to be very talented. Went to advanced eventing by the age of 7. By this time, people were recognising me as a producer of horses because they'd seen what had happened before. So I started to get offers for him, which I couldn't financially refuse, really, because as a full-time veterinarian as well, I just didn't have the time, nor did I think I had the real instinct to win, to be tough enough to win at the top level, to think I could take the horse on. So
letting somebody else
and enjoying watching the horses competing at the world level was fantastic. He went on to compete at the World Championships as well.
That is quite a resume.
It's that I was very, very lucky, and it helped me professionally too, because the fellow competitors recognised what I was doing, and they were therefore had a feeling that I understood their problems with their horses, and so it brought people to me in my professional role as an equine veterinarian.
Right.
And really had a huge
win-win
boost
on
on my career. Yes, particularly because at that time women were not very accepted in the equine veterinary profession, particularly in the UK. You were further ahead here in the USA, but in the UK you weren't. And because I was also tiny, there were lots of people who mistrusted the fact that perhaps I could do something. But I think I've shown that you don't have to be big and brawny to be able to have empathy with horses and to be able to handle difficult horses, both from a riding perspective and from a veterinary perspective. It's the way that you interact with them which I think is so important.
That's so wonderful. That's so wonderful that you really kind of took something that a lot of people might have said not possible to do, especially at that point. And as you said, women not getting kind of
the recognition they deserved, you sort of said, hey, I might be small and I might be a woman, but I can do this.
Yeah, and I've met lots of people. I learned from lots of people. When I was here in the United States, I happened to meet Danny Marks, who was the American show jumping team vet at the time, and he also took me under his umbrella and took me to his clients who were perhaps based with George Morris, so I got to watch some of George Morris training. And so there were many incredible opportunities to learn, and being a curious person, I always wanted to ask questions, to ask why, and to take these bits of information and try and put them all together. And having my own horses and being able to observe them on a day-to-day basis, see their behaviours in the stable and relate that to what happened when you subsequently rode them, I think was a huge education in the value of observation and the things that you notice. He doesn't normally do that. I wonder why he's not doing that, why he is doing that today. Is there a problem? And so I think it taught me a lot about the importance of observation and thinking and asking
that's
why.
Incredible. And we've got more on that. So we are going to wrap this segment up with Dr. Sue Dyson, and we are going to have her back for another segment because I want to delve much deeper, especially into horse behavior and a number of other things that you'll find in this. So we'll be right back on the Horse Talk Show. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of this portion of the show, Palm Chevrolet, and to our TV broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay. Also, thank you to the supporting sponsors, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, TT Distributors, Equifence of Florida, the Florida Horse Park, Smash Wraps, Nirvana Medical Spa, Equigreen, JNS Pressure Washing, Horse Vans, and Midnight Rose Equestrian. The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed.
Oh, piranha.
My name is Dr. Natalie Solomon. I formulated Equigreen with cutting-edge science and technology alongside the passion that is represented by a lifelong love of horses. I created a product that I would trust for my horses because they deserve nothing but the best for their bodies. Horses rely on us to take care of them, to love them, to respect them. This is how Equigreen came to life. Equigreen, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
Does your farm need a facelift? Has the harsh Florida climate left your barns, stable doors, and fences stained? JNS Pressure Washing has a professional team who can exceed your expectations and restore your farm to its former glory. Get rid of dust and cobwebs that can cause allergies and health issues for horses, and keep your horses safe by limiting fire hazards in the barn. JNS Pressure Washing can clean your house, your barns, your fences, and your driveway, and you can count on dependable and professional services. For more information, call Steven at 352-502-5355.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
This is Charlotte Cannon, and you are listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And we now have Muriel from MD Equine Therapy, and she is going to be talking about light therapy and TENS. Here she is. Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative, here with one of our CEP partners, Muriel from MD Equine Therapy. And we are going to chat about a couple of modalities within her treatments that she uses and therapy she uses on horses. I've been around her and watched this in action, and horses really appreciate this care. Muriel, we are going to talk about light and TENS. Let's start with light.
Yeah, so one of the modalities I incorporate in the horse's care is light therapy. Light therapy is a little bit different than laser. So they both also use red light, but with the laser, it's filtered, so it has a filter in front of it. So there's a higher power So that's why you need to wear the goggles with laser, and the time is shorter. But with light therapy, you don't need to wear goggles, and it takes a little bit longer, but not less effective. What I like about this light therapy brand that I use, and also is available online on my website, is the blue, red light, and near infrared light. So you can actually see it here.
So tell us about the blue and red lights.
Yeah, so as you can see, these wraps, they can go on a leg or another body part, and I have different forms and different sizes. The blue light uses 450 nanometers, and it's great for skin problems. So it's highly antibacterial, antimicrobial. Blue light gets used in these days in air conditionings and in pool filters. I don't know if you've seen those, or when you wash your hands and you see a blue light come out, or you dry your hands with the blue light added. Yeah. That's antibacterial, antimicrobial.
Now
you
makes
know,
sense.
you learned
Yes.
something. So it's great for scratches, cuts, wounds, and amazing for hair growth. So if a horse has a specific wound or cut and you're worried about the hair not growing back, especially on their face, definitely use blue light. And I have another wrap that is blue light only. So this one is just for demo purposes, so you can see all the lights. The red light is like a laser, but it doesn't have the filter. That's why we can look at it, right? So it's not as high powered, but it treats superficial layers. So the layers right underneath the skin. So fascia, muscles, or little bones, you know, on your finger that doesn't have a lot of fat. And it has about a 200% cellular repair turnover. Wow. So it's really amazing. And the lights we cannot see are the near infrared lights. And they're invisible to the naked eye, but they're stronger. They go up to 900 nanometers, and they go deeper. And they can target. Yeah, they can target deeper bones, deeper muscle groups. So if you have tendon, ligament, suspensory injuries, light is definitely a great option to go and speed up the healing and recovery time.
Modality.
Yeah.
Good. Switching it up now to TENS machine here with Muriel. Tell us a little bit about this device.
Well, a lot of people are probably familiar with this device, TENS unit, right? From physical therapy, or they might have one for themselves.
I've certainly seen them, but I think they were old school and much larger. This looks very efficient.
That might have been microcurrents, what you were looking at. So this is TENS. So it uses these patches with electrodes, and it gives out electrical impulses. So these will start to move, right? You can feel your muscle kind of twist, and you can see a twist on the horse that you will probably see in the little video next. And what it does, you can put them on trigger points, on the horses in this case. And I'm thinking now
You're thinking
of your
of my
shoulder.
shoulders, yes.
I want to treat your shoulder, but we're trying to stick to horses. Trigger points, so you can put them there. But this is also used in another form called electroacupressure. And it's a different form of acupuncture. So with acupuncture, the vet will use acupuncturists will use needles, where with this we don't use needles, but we actually use the same points. So we actually use traditional Chinese medicine pathways. So we look at the meridians. You know, horses have 12 meridians, and they have about 376 acupoints. And we can actually put these on acupoints. We also have smaller patches, and it's to open up the energy channels. It opens up the qi, because if you look into Chinese traditional medicine, there can be blockages, right, anywhere in the body. And with this little magical device, you can actually open up that pathway. And especially for horses that don't like needles, this is a great alternative.
It's wonderful.
It can also be used for horses that have maybe atrophy. So maybe one side is nicely built up and the other side is not so nicely built up. And with a TENS unit, you can strengthen that muscle group, right? And so it's like an exercise.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
So it has different uses.
So just another wonderful modality in your great big long list of
Yeah.
fantastic
Oh, yes.
modalities that can help a horse feel better.
Yeah.
Not as a replacement for the veterinarian,
No.
of course, but to help complement the care that you have with your veterinarian.
Yep.
And make the horse more comfortable.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Muriel, how do we find you?
You find me on the web at md-equine.com and read more about the different therapies, and happy to come evaluate your horse and help them feel better.
Wonderful. And your phone number?
727-251-4197.
Right here in the horse capital. Muriel with MD Equine Therapy. Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and the CEP's Equine Initiative. As always, we recommend that you consult with your veterinarian on your therapy choices, and we know that lots of therapy do complement what you do with your veterinarian, but we always recommend that. MD Equine Therapy does a great job. See Muriel working on horses, helping them feel much more comfortable and at ease and relaxing. And speaking of TENS machines.
Did you get one?
I did. You know, I was at AAEP. Did I mention I was at
Yes,
AAEP?
you did. Many times.
Had such a great time. I really did. I felt like I learned a lot. I felt like there were so many amazing inventions, and I know TENS is not a new invention by any means. It's been around. But I will say, the demo one of these that was on my back, if this is impressive as that, I have to say it was a nice experience. It was relaxing. It was therapeutic. Put it on my lower back. It was quite impressive. And this particular one actually comes with shoes that you can attach it to, so you can actually do it to the bottom of your feet if you've walked absolutely miles and miles like I have in the last couple of months. And yeah. So really,
Very
really
good.
We'll see when I try this one out, but I'm the proud owner, thanks to Alan Davies, of a new TENS machines.
Woohoo!
Excited about that. Yes. Actually, it was very therapeutic overall being there, because you got to kind of try some new things. What did you do this weekend? I think you might have bid something up at Stirrups and Strides, which, by the way, we'll get to in the last segment, because we're going to talk to you a little bit about that. But we had a good time at Stirrups and Strides, and Pete, you did a great job with your auctioneer skills.
Thank you. You did wonderful. It was emceeing.
There was a lot of talking.
That's what you're good at.
That's right. So Muriel, MD Equine Therapy, you can find more information for her on social media and the website. Other therapies that we have already covered with her as well. Everything from Surefoot, which, by the way, was at AAEP. Did I mention that? She offers all sorts of different therapeutic treatments that you can work with your veterinarian and her on those. And she does a great job. And I put her heart and soul into all of that. So. And she loves the horses, and we have, I believe, one more or two more segments coming up with her in the next few weeks. So we've got to wrap it up, and we're coming back with Dancing Pete Roder's Tip of the Week. So stay with us. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of this portion of the show, Palm Chevrolet, and to our TV broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay. Also, thank you to the supporting sponsors, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, TT Distributors, Equifence of Florida, the Florida Horse Park, Smash Wraps, Nirvana Medical Spa, Equigreen, JNS Pressure Washing, Horse Vans, and Midnight Rose Equestrian. Ocala Dog Ranch offers a variety of services for your dog, including agility training, barn hunt training, board and train, boarding long and short term, daycare, day training, dock diving training and competitions, disc dog, swimming lessons and pool rentals, lure coursing and obedience training classes. Check out Ocala Dog Ranch at ocaladogranch.com. Ocala Dog Ranch is your home away from home for your dog and more.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, also online at ttdistributors.com.
Cut through the noise and distinguish your business with a custom vehicle wrap from Smash Wraps. And remember, don't just wrap it, smash wrap it.
Epic Equine Veterinarians specializing in rehab and conditioning.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
Equigreen, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
Nirvana, Ocala's premier medical spa, is leading the way in great skin with all the newest in treatment options. Become a better, brighter, and younger you.
The Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe. For all your current barn needs, go to patmyerselectric.com.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the final segment of the Horse Talk Show for this week, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And it's time for Dancing Pete Rhoda's complimentary horsemanship tip of the week.
Dancing Pete's tip of the week, brought to you by Complimentary Horsemanship.
This tip is sponsored by WildlifeWorksLLC.com for your unwanted wild critters removal.
Brought to you by Wildlife Works, who will get rid of critters that you do not want. Very well.
Tip of the week this week is, are you blaming your horse for your lack of focus?
What? Huh?
Huh?
What?
So what that means is, are you getting onto your horse because you're not physically focusing? You're focusing where you're wanting to go and your horse is not going with you, but you're not actually focusing on a point physically, or you are physically focusing, but your mental focus is somewhere else. So you're thinking about, oh, I got to do grocery shopping when I get home, and your horse is like, whoa, I don't know where we are. So that's the tip of the week. So be more mindful.
That's good. That's really good. And actually, it's very easy to be in a place where you are distracted by so many other things. I think especially at this time of year, I think from at least here in Marion County, in my opinion, from about October really through the beginning of January.
It's a blur.
It's a blur, it is. And I actually just said this before the show. Halloween rolls around and before you know it, it's a blink and you're at the end of the year. It's so fast and it's by far the fastest period of the year to me.
Yes, ma'am.
And I do think it's very easy to be completely distracted to the point that your brain is so overwhelmed that you're not focusing on what you're doing. And I've done that a lot lately. I've lost things like my phone in the rubbish bin. Alan, sorry. But really, I mean, that I would not do that. I would know my phone was under those napkins normally. But when your mind is everywhere, which actually at a place where you meet multitude of different people.
And if you were truly focused, you wouldn't have put your phone on top of the food and then put the napkins on top of it.
Exactly, spot on. So that is really true. You can take that from real life. Not the horses aren't real life, but you can take it from everyday normal life and put that into your relationship with your horse and be so distracted that you don't do as good a job as you might if you weren't. Absolutely true. And completely different topic, but still a tip of the week. Horse Talk Show likes to go to the dogs with Neil Hennessy from Ocala Dog Ranch. The Horse Talk Show goes to the dogs at Ocala Dog Ranch.
Neil Hennessy, the owner of Ocala Dog Ranch. Nobody likes to step in dog poop. So why don't you carry a dog poop hand holder with you, attach it to your leash so that when you grab the dog, you grab your leash, you got your poop bag. Pick up the poop even when somebody's not watching you and dispose of it correctly. Like I said, nobody wants to step in dog poop and we want to be able to take our dogs everywhere. If people let their dogs poop everywhere, maybe that will be a restriction that we won't be able to take our dogs there again. Neil Hennessy, the owner of Ocala Dog Ranch.
Isaac is so dedicated to the job.
He went and got footage of them picking poop up with baggies.
So if you own a horse, I'm almost positive you own at least one dog.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with, you need a big baggie to put that in. Could you imagine if you had one that hooked under your belt, big old container of hefty bags?
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun, would it? Good one, Pete. But seriously, that is a very, very good point. When you go take your dog for a walk Or if you take your dog to a horse show, or you take your dog anywhere for that matter.
Or you bring your dog to a barn. That's
Yes.
one of the pet peeves that I see. A lot of people let their dog go poop everywhere and don't get something to go pick it up or have a baggie to pick it up.
There's nothing worse than sliding into some of
Oh,
that.
yes, ma'am.
It's a horrible experience.
So changing topics.
Yeah, so well done, Neil. That is a very, very good one. And shout out to Neil. Go to Ocala Dog Ranch on Facebook and find out what exciting stuff. He's got lots of exciting things going on all the time. So Saturday night, we were at Viva. Oh, look.
Las
it's raining.
Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas. And it was Stirrups and Strides, Therapeutic Riding Center's annual fundraiser, and it was a really, really good time. There was some juggling. There was some
Elvis impersonation.
And there was some really good fun magic tricks where this guy knew your cat's name, Pete.
That's right.
And that's pretty impressive. And the Viva Las Vegas theme was great. It was a lot of good fun. There was casino tables were set up. Shout out to Reach Video Production, Isaac. I swear, he's either got the biggest muscles or his arms just don't ever get tired because he doesn't quit. He's everywhere with his equipment and filming everything that's going on. And then afterwards he spends time color grading it, making it perfect and putting all this effort into it. So well done to Reach Video Production. And then, of course, there was all sorts of other acts that were going on throughout the evening, which was great. And that was Artify. They had a singer, contortionist, and a number of other acts that they did. So well done to Artify and Greg Waslowski. And then, of course, I got to MC, so I got to talk for 4 hours.
Woohoo! With all those feathers on you.
I know. I was molting, shedding all over the place all evening. That's Betty Gray, who of course runs Stirrups and Strides, and her daughter was actually in an accident like over 40 years ago that left her disabled, and horses are actually what brought her back to being able to do so much. And Betty Gray actually talked about some of the folks that are involved in this program that have disabilities of all sorts, that have accomplished some really great things, from being able to compete in some top competitions for therapeutic riding and win, and really improve everything from posture, balance, muscle strength, you name it. They have, oh, he was the statue, that's right. Just the abilities that they have improved upon since they've been involved in therapeutic riding is like night and day.
Yes, ma'am.
And it really does. Then there's several groups that do different kinds of therapies, from Gentle Carousel with their miniature therapy horses visiting people from going through all sorts of things, first responders and people in hospitals and hospice and rehabs, to MTRA, of course, who also do therapeutic riding and do a lot with veterans as well. And then, of course, Stirrups and Strides. And there's multiple other organizations that are doing this sort of thing. And the results of it are really outstanding.
Yes, ma'am. And then you got me up on stage.
Oh, that's right. We did get you up on stage.
Well, Betty did.
Yes, Betty did. So, you know, when you do a silent auction, there's some great silent auction items there. They always have a phenomenal layout of baskets from very generous local folks that donate those, which is wonderful. But one of the gift certificates there for a foursome for golf was not getting any bids at all. So Dancing Pete Roder did what? Do it, go ahead.
Oh, give me $800 and $5.
He does that thing where he says, have you ever been to an auction before? If you have, put your hand in the air. And somebody does, and he goes,
$500.
$500.
The guy was not happy when that happened. But the best part was we didn't get any bids. We got a $100 bid, and we got all the way up to $600.
That was great. Well done. High five, my friend.
Woohoo!
We have to wrap it up. Whether you're in Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world,
Or not.
happy horsing around. Till the same time next week.
See you next one.